budget filming.
Yo! And it looks like it's going to have to be modified straight out of the packet. So what's unusual about that?
Who needs to... Oh shit, John's cake!
Every project starts with a dilemma. And my current dilemma is that because I'm drifting, I'm going through a lot of tires, and I need to keep a stock of tires so that I don't need to buy them the day before and then they don't arrive. And yeah, I just need to keep some tires here. So I've got these and they're in the way, obviously. Mess. So what do? Well, out here, there's the tire machine, the balancer. Up here I have some dead space. So what I'm going to do is build a rack that puts the tires up there. So to do that, I'm going to use C channel. This is, what size is it? 6 centimeters by 3 and a bit, whatever that is. Cut this to length with a 45 on it, and this will go up in there, bolt to the top, and we have our 45 there, which will have a leg out this way. Do I have a design somewhere? I do. I've got the design here somewhere. This is what I'm going for here. You can see this is the part that I just showed you with a 45 on the bottom. The piece that comes out this way to make a maximum distance of 48 centimeters. That's actually not a maximum, it's a minimum. A minimum inside. Don't really want more than that though, because then the tire hangs a little bit low, but 48 is ideal. We'll have a bar that runs across there. Before I put any tires on it, I want to make sure that it will hold the weight. So I'm going to hang from this point here, and if it holds my weight, then we'll be good to go. Though I'm guessing that it might not be strong enough. I might need to run another 45 up to there and then a horizontal bar across there. Maybe. We'll see how we go. Bleeding. Never good. Never good, but common. Correct way. Bolts to the wall, 45 is this way, bolts onto there, yep, we're good to go. Oof. That should do. Alright, this is designing on the fly. What I'm planning to do is to have a 45 from this side to here. Now before that, this is where the horizontal bar will come out, and I've got this little scrap piece. Now originally what I was going to do was cut a 45 on there and a 45 out of there and then recess it back in. But what I'm thinking now is I'll actually flip it like that. I'll have enough room here to get a nice solid weld, one on the bottom and one on the back side, and then I'll put a plate on the underside, and that will give me ultimate strength. And the bonus of that is I can hang stuff off this edge here, like this. When I was a kid, I always used wood to build things. I never used steel. Now I much prefer steel. And the reason for that was actually presented to me many, many years ago by a friend on the Gold Coast where I used to live. And he said, if you use metal and you mess it up, you can always weld it back together. Whereas if you use wood and you mess it up, you're kind of screwed. And that will apply here. For this diagonal brace, I need 72 centimeters. Now, I don't want to cut up this long piece here because, well, it's a long piece and that would be a waste. But I do have these two short bits. One of them is long enough for the 72, but the other one is not. So what I'll do is I'll cut this one to 72 and then weld the scrap piece onto this and then cut it to 72, and I'll have my two braces. It'll go on the back side and you won't even see it. And here we are. We've got the sides built and I'm just about to weld on the front piece, but I thought I'd show you this. I used this piece as a brace to hold that piece up, the front piece up. And I thought I'd share that with you because it took me a little bit to figure that out. It might seem perfectly logical to somebody else. Other people might find that a useful tip. How was I going to hold this front bar up so that I could tack weld it in place? And that's how I did it. On another note, I finally bought myself one of these. All I can say is believe the hype. These things, if it would ever come in focus, these things are absolutely epic. Step drills. What would take me 30 minutes, I just did in 2. So get one of these, no matter what it costs. I think I picked up 2 for 20 bucks. Hopefully that's strong enough to hold all the tires up. If it's not, I'll have to add some kind of center brace, but I don't want to do that because that wall isn't very strong. It's just there to hold the weather out. So yeah, anyway, what else have we done? We've got this angle I trimmed. The lighting's terrible. I trimmed the angle so that it would fit in there and it screws on. And there's another one reversed over this side. The welds look horrible, but they did penetrate because you could see it on the other side of the steel. So that's strong enough. There you go. Stacked coins or chicken shit. Weld is weld. No, not really. And there it is, done. Needs a lick of paint, but she's strong enough to hold me hanging in the middle of it. So it should be able to hold 6 tires up there easy enough. All good. There she is, fully loaded. Looking good.
What's that on that beat? Rack City, bitch. Rack City, bitch. 10, 10, 10, 20s on your titties, bitch. 100 D, VIP, no.
Isn't this the story of my life? So I bought these. They're like, well, it's to join pieces of pipe together, right? But this piece goes right through. So how do you locate it or anything? So it needs modifying straight out of the packet. There's nothing unusual about that. Drill a hole, gonna drill it out to 6 mil and then put a bolt through it, and then that will stop the pipe going through. Modified out of the packet. Welcome back to Garage K. Thanks for tuning in. In this episode, I'll be removing some bushes from an IS200 Altezza or IS300 rear diff. Here's one I removed earlier. First, what you're going to want to do is get yourself a nice sponsored workbench, because you can't do anything without that. Next, set your diff up so that it's nice and solid on the bench. Then, you're going to need to heat up this area here. To do that, I'm using the good old Power Gas Pro. Nothing fancy here. let's see if that's enough. Next, take an air hammer, get it under there, go for gold. Not yet. Let's give that a shot. You throw away all the footage because you couldn't get the bush out. More heat. And there she is. Tune in next week so you can watch my hands do this again. Okay, now, enough of that silliness. I'm going to be putting rigid bushes in this. As you can see, one's already done. Now you could use a bearing press, which I have, but not everyone has one of those. So in the spirit of how everyone else makes videos, I'm going to do it by hand. I've used some 800 sandpaper to just shine this up a little bit, and then I've sprayed in some of this Pentaton, which is just like a slippery spray, just to aid with lubrication. I don't think it's actually necessary, but meh, we'll do it anyway. Let's clear a bit of space. Tilt this over so that the arm's touching the wood on the bottom. Trusty rubber hammer, and then just round in a circle. Right, that's in. That went in a lot easier than the other one. This one was a lot more difficult to get in than that one just was. I would have liked to showed you that one. Anyway, there's that. Diff bushes removed and installed. You thought your tyres were expensive? 265/35 R20 in a Bridgestone. And then back here we've got a 305/30 R20. Dual calipers on a carbon disc. Just beautiful. Check this shit out. Fuck yeah. I can't get it in the dash. I can't get it in the dash. Fuck. Well, that's a fail. Switches modified and then glued together and then glassed so that they are super strong. I moved the factory hole from the other side to this side so that the hole's the correct shape, and I brought the mount with it so that it still mounts in like a factory one does. Factory motor controls still bolt onto the back, luckily. I wasn't planning it, but I managed to go around that mount rather than cutting it off. Very lucky there. I didn't plan this win either. This thing's still very difficult to do and film at the same time, but let's see. There we go. Clips in there, and magically there on my fiberglass. I'm pretty proud of the back cover because I used this front edge here, so it still locks in as the factory one does. I also used the back sections here joined together so it still bolts in as factory and is easily removed. This is how the lid comes off. And it's got that lip in there that clips on, and these clips on the side. Yep. Here's this. The green stuff is fine putty. That one's pretty much ready to go. Remember there was a hole there before, now it's filled and ready for paint. The lid cracked once, so I had to do that again. This is how good this thing turned out. I showed you this thinking this is where I repaired it. I didn't. The repair's actually over there. You can't even tell. Like, that's crazy. I need to trim off this scraggly bit on the bottom here. But other than that, it's pretty good. I'll know once I sand it with 600 whether it's ready for paint or not. Forgot to show you this bit. This is a little cover that goes in there to cover up the screws. This took a lot of work because I had to sand it flat. It had a rise in it before. Now it blends in with the table because that's where I sprayed it. Lol. This shit's all getting closer and closer. I didn't do much today, but I've got a little spot there, some work in the back there, a little bit up underneath that lip there, spot there. And then that bit will be done, hopefully. This turned out great, although it's heavy as fuck. Just this tiny little bit on this edge here that needs... Well, why won't you focus, you bitch? Fuck. Focus. No, I just want to do it. Hang on, what if I zoom in on my hand and then come up? For fuck's sake. Anyway, shave that scraggly bit off. Should be fine though. This screen weighs a fucking ton, dude. I'm just being silly with this, like, way too picky. This small, tiny little thing there, and then a tiny little thing there, and, like, a scratch there from a razor blade, and then there was some shit there. Just being really picky with it. Next up is just a collection of photos that I've sent to people who were interested in the build as I was doing it, that don't sort of fit in anywhere. I thought I'd include them, a little bit of music as an outro. That is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. I'll see you soon in the next video. Later.